Yeah, thank you for being here. I'd like to talk about something that a lot of people, I think, are not aware of. In the teaser, in the brochure, I think it was already described, but currently there's an $18 billion spoilage problem globally amongst grocery stores. So that means that produces are delivered, or actually go on journey, but arrive spoiled and basically are rejected by the stores and end up in a jelly factory or, well, at a lot less, at a much worse price than they were intended to. Oh yeah, sorry. So that's why I thought I'll talk about fresh grocery supply chain challenges. And one more remark is that if you enter a supermarket globally, and I've not been to all countries, but I guess you would agree that mostly when you get in, it's first fresh produce and fruits. That's because that's where the margin is made. So these are all double-digit margins. And later on, you have to go look for your own Coca-Cola or whatever, because these are single-digit margins. Very quick. Something happening? Yeah. Okay, this is quickly the agenda, but in the interest of time, I'll skip this. The presentation will be available online for your review later. So at Tive, we talk a lot about, and this is something that a lot of people in supply chain talk about, but for us, this is really essential to enable customers to deliver on time and in full. Meaning, they get both, they can track the locations, so the progress of the journey, but also in full, meaning the condition of the goods is the condition that we like to receive it at. In order to do that, it's very small, but you're more than welcome. Maybe I can hand it and maybe people can look at it. We have a stand here all the way in the corner across from Project 44. So out the door all the way to the end to the right. We have these devices, what we call trackers. And basically these trackers enable real-time in-transit load tracking. So there's been a lot of talk today, for instance, by Project 44, about shipment tracking, SKU tracking, and combining data sources. We create data. So I'm not saying that it's better, but it's a different user case, as you will. To ensure that we can offer OTIF, we apply a lot of technologies in the device. 5G, we also have a 4G, 3G and 2G version, but it's backwards compatible, so a 5G communication together with GPS and Wi-Fi, and the triangulation of those technologies makes it very accurate. And we're talking, if people ask, it's about 1.5 meters accuracy. So you can basically tell pallets apart if you would be standing right in front of it. Also, the device can measure temperature, humidity, shock, and light intrusion, meaning there's a light sensor on it. If you put it in a container, the doors will be open, there's light intrusion. You would know there's somebody looking into the container, or that could also apply to a box or a packaging unit. Other button, sorry. That data is uploaded to the cloud in real time, so you have visibility of the progress of your journey, and you can see what the status of your goods are. But obviously this is an exception management model, because nobody has time to look at a map and all these beautiful pictures that everybody shows today to see how is my individual shipment going. But people can set, the user can set, and this is a flexible system, you can set values for deviation of temperature, route deviations. If people park at the wrong parking lot, I was talking to a customer the other day, they said people can only stand still, park the truck at secured parking lots, otherwise they're not allowed to stand still. So all these kinds of alerts we can proactively share with our customers. And of course, that comes with the geographical location. So then that gives you a lot of data to interpret what is going on and if this is something happening at customs or it's happening at a parking lot that they shouldn't be at the first place. wrong button. And then on top of that, we have a multinational, multilingual team that can offer 24/7 monitoring. And basically that means that if one of these alerts would be notified, we can escalate that to the customer or whoever in the supply chain who can act on it to make sure that the problem is solved before it hits the end customer. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If we do a lot of berry shipments, so raspberry shipments that we all buy in the supermarket, those producers, if one of those if one of those containers gets too humid for a long period of time, then mold starts to happen. And everybody knows if you buy berries, you put them in your fridge and there's one molded, then the whole box goes. And then there's 450 down the drain. The same happens in these containers. So they want to know what's happening as it's happening so they can intervene. They can take the pallet out, they can offer it to a jelly factory and stop the shipment or whatever. But they will already know that it will not be accepted by the supermarket because they want prime berries because they're asking prime prices. So that's the kind of stuff that we accelerate on their behalf, and then the shipper or the truck driver or whoever is in possession of the goods can intervene, or at least you have information that the goods will not arrive in the right condition. So back to the fresh groceries. A lot of people have talked about the pandemic today. That has, of course, in our industry, that has had a huge impact. Negative, both as positive. There's a lot of demand for us, and all of a sudden we're all kind of important, which is great, and it's great for business, but there's a lot of things we can't solve. For the fresh groceries industries, it has basically meant that people started to consider, how healthy am I, and should I eat more groceries, or should I eat more fresh groceries and fruit and vegetables? So the demand for fresh groceries has increased dramatically across the world. But of course, the complications in the supply chains have also increased dramatically. So there's tension there. And basically, these statistics mean that we're all trying to ship more in a highly disruptive supply chain. So obviously, people need to know what's going on with my individual shipment and how am I doing. Yeah, I've already talked about this. Okay, so if we look at fresh groceries, it's basically about spoilage and shelf life. And I'll give you an example of somebody I talked to, I think 2 weeks ago, that dealt in bananas, and they said, well, for us it's a game of time. So if the bananas are too green, the supermarket will not accept them. So we have to store them somewhere else. If they're too brown, they will not accept them because they cannot sell them anymore. So there's a very small time frame, as you will, where you can actually offer them, and the Aholds or the Lidls or the Jumbos or whatever will actually accept them. So for them, it's very important that they are on top of the ripening procedure that's going on in the containers. That's a whole separate topic. But also that there's no delays in the transit, because that could have huge implications. So sorry, I'm not sure which slide I'm looking at. I'm seeing a different slide here. That's weird. Anyway, I have to round up anyway, so that's fine. So we've now focused on fresh groceries and perishable goods, which is a great user case for our kind of product, where you actually collect data at the source. So you're not depending on all kinds of resources. You have the actual data. These are the facts, and this is what you can potentially act upon. But obviously we have a lot of other customers. So we are heavily involved in pharma, also with internal and external measurements. So there's a probe that attaches to the device. I don't know where the device is, somewhere. I hope you see it back. You can come deliver it to the stand, and then we can have a conversation. But that is one of the developments that is coming in Q3, where we have farmer devices that can measure up to minus 200 Celsius. You can measure a core temperature and an outside temperature. So basically you can anticipate if the temperature goes up in the outer shell, how long will it take for the inner shell to be touched? So that's really important information, especially in pharma, that is highly sensitive. We do a lot of work with 3PLs. Actually, all the 3PLs in the EMEA region are working with us. I think somebody from Tive I just spoke to. Yeah. Well, you can ask him if he's happy. Those are the best cases. We work with a lot of manufacturing, so high-end electronics, the AWS. I was talking to somebody about that this afternoon. This is server business, Amazon Cloud, Tesla, or you name it, there's lots of examples. In short, if you have a use case that you think might work or where we can help out and add value, please don't be shy and come visit us or reach out to us after the show. Thank you very much.